turn now to Hungary, and in Budapest today, a conference is underway with a question many in Europe have been asking, either publicly or maybe a little quietly. Is there a future for Jews in Europe? Politicians, security experts, and Jewish leaders are coming together there to try and answer that question. And our correspondent, Paulina Garayev, is there in Budapest. Paulina, I first have to ask you, why the decision to hold this kind of conference in and of all countries, Hungary, where there have been serious issues raised, for example, with the Jobbik Party, which many people see as having strong anti-Semitic elements?
Well, this is exactly why this conference should be held here. And while it was regarding the state of all Jewish communities in Europe, there was a special focus put on the threats faced by the Jewish community here in Hungary, which is the largest in Europe, in fact. The main challenges that were discussed were, of course, anti-Semitism and terrorism. But the fact that the election in Hungary are about 5 months away did not escape the attention of the attendees, and the influence of the Jobbik Party was particularly of concern for the participants. Also, considering the fact that in recent weeks, months, we have seen the party try to tone down its extreme rhetoric and try to position itself more in the center in an attempt to gain more votes. I spoke about this with one of the participants, a political analyst, and this is what he had to say.
They really try to change their approach towards the Jewish community. They send greeting cards to many Jewish communities at Hanukkah, and this is very clear. On the other hand, they still have the same membership. The members who used to say outrageous statements about the Jews, they're still members of the party.
Paulina, you would think that at a conference like this in Europe, it's difficult to separate present-day issues from a pretty dark history. How much talk is there of history there today?
So, of course, nobody can escape the dark shadow of the Holocaust, especially here in Budapest, where the narrative of Holocaust commemoration keeps changing, also under the current government. Of course, we mentioned the Jobbik Party and the concerns that it will become the second largest party in Hungary following the next election. But also under this current government that we're seeing, the center-right government in Hungary, there are concerns regarding the rising anti-Semitism and the fact that Holocaust commemoration is taking a different shape, one that is trying to exonerate Hungarians and to place blame more on the Germans. This was not the case several years ago, and this is also a concerning development that is not going away, especially since the current government party is expected to win in the election. And this was also addressed by participants of the conference.
Paulina, on a more practical level, what steps do the participants want to see? Do they want to see more Jewish community political involvement, more assistance maybe coming from Israel or from the Jewish community in the United States? What are they looking for on practical steps to sustain the communities in Europe?
Well, we have seen here participation by representatives of the Israeli government. That also shows that it also carries part of the responsibility and is willing to cooperate with Jewish communities in order to further their interests. I have to say that no concrete steps were recommended, but we did hear representatives of the Hungarian government say that they view their anti-migration policy as means of protecting the interests of the Jewish communities, because they're saying that the Muslims that are coming from conflict states are the ones that pose the most danger to Jewish communities. This is, of course, a highly contested view, and we have seen those disagreements also among the participants and the panel discussions here at the conference.
Paulina,
and Hungary was one of the first countries in this region to establish a first-rate Holocaust museum with a very clear and critical narrative. And yet, you have in the current government efforts to kind of rewrite that clear narrative.
All right, Paulina Garayev in Hungary, an important conference, an important question being asked there. What kind of future for Europe's Jews? Thanks very much for that, Paulina.